Good evening. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Allison, and I'm the owner of M3 Travel. I live on a farm with my husband and 4 daughters, and I specialize in assisting people to create amazing and unique memories through travel. I do a lot of work in the cruise realm because I really love the idea of unpack once and explore multiple places. And I really love expedition cruising as it gives you the perfect balance of exploration and relaxation. At this time, I would like to introduce Eric Bacon, Sales Director for Swan Hellenic. He has worked in the expedition cruise world for the last 10 years, and he is going to give us all some amazing insight about expedition cruising.
Well, thank you, Allison, and I'm very happy to be among you this evening and really talk to you about Swan Hellenic. It's going to be a little bit shorter than I'm used to, but we're going to go right and focus on what you should be aware of expedition, as well as Swan Hellenic a little bit more in detail. So I'll make sure to show you a screen and this beautiful presentation that I usually use in my presentation. So Swan Hellenic, just to give you a little bit of history, the name of Swan Hellenic started in the 1950s. So it might be a name that you've heard before, but through the course of its history, it changed hands. And in the end of 2019, early 2020, a group of European investors bought the name because they made a decision of either going with a name that already existed or a new name. And they decided to go with Swan Hellenic because it was known in the industry already. And they were pursuing the same mission of cultural expedition as it was initiated by the Swan family back in the 1950s. So you already have here a little bit of the history of our name. But I'll dive right in the fact of what is an expedition sailing or a journey, especially with Swan Hellenic, though it could be a little bit more generic as an expedition with any other company, but we'll focus on Swan Hellenic here. And it's truly to come in the different regions, in the different destinations, communities that we visit, by opening up your heart and your head also by discovering these different regions and really immerse yourself in the different regions and destinations where we're going to bring you and discover. And of course, on board and off the ship, you're going to be able to connect with people that came and visit these different regions like you in comfort, but really an adventure in the different areas where we are going. And you'll see a little later where Swan Hellenic can bring you to discover in the regions of the world. And when you come on an expedition, you're definitely going to go beyond of just saying, I saw that. You're really experiencing, and when you come back, you say, I have been there, and I really had an opportunity to interact with locals from a culture standpoint, from the wildlife, and so on. So that's truly a different type of cruising. That's why sometimes it might scare some people when we use the word cruising, but it's a different type of discovery when you come on board of a ship and a company like Swan Hellenic. And something also important when you come on an expedition is really to embrace and understand that things can change very quickly. You'll see it's easier because of the number of people that are on board and the size of the ship as well. But things can change very, very quickly, sometimes in a matter of hours. Most of the time, it would be related to weather. But it could be for geopolitical or for political reasons. It's very important for us that wherever we go, it's safe for our guests on board, so we don't take any bad risk. We're going to take nice risk. We're going to sometimes change things, so you have the ability to see things that are even out of this world. But it's very important to know that these things can change very, very quickly. On the screen, you can see also some of the expedition activities that you might be able to experience in the different areas where we are going. It could be from just walking or hiking, snowshoeing, kayaking, diving, and also snorkeling. But as well, something important is one of your mode of transportation and your mode of discovery are with zodiacs. Now, it could be in polar regions that you can see on the screen. That's about how it's done. Or in a warmer climates, also here, where most of the time we get on the beach and then the locals are welcoming us. And it's just a fantastic experience to have. And I know for some of you, it might be a concern. You're like, "Ooh, I'm not comfortable to be on a zodiac." I'm going to say that if you are willing, if you have it in your mind, the team on board will make it happen. And I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, I was in Antarctica, and it was a gentleman with us. Actually, he became almost a mascot at this point. He was 97 years old. Well, today would be 99, but he was to the utmost importance for him to step on the continent in Antarctica because that was his last continent that he was going to. And the team on board made it happen. I mean, this gentleman was, walking really well and so on, but nonetheless, he was still 97 years old, and they made it happen. They helped him, got him on the Zodiac. He was very comfortable, got him on land. He was able to walk around and then be able to come back. So again, if you are willing, the team on board will make it happen. Another way of getting off of the ship is with tenders. It could be either our own or it could be borrowed by some of the local authorities in the different areas where we are going. Or in certain instances, we might be just going alongside at a pier and you just get off the ship right on the dock. One of the most important people on board, of course, after you as a guest and the captain, is the expedition team. They are truly your extended family on board. There's usually about 12 members on any of our sailings, and they are truly taking care of you on board the ship, off the ship, making sure everything is comfortable. And many of them are also knowledgeable and a specialist in the field. They could be an oceanologist, a historian, a marine biologist, a penguin specialist, a whale specialist, and so on and so forth. And they will make sure that you get extra from the different regions and destinations where you're going by activities, lectures on board, or gatherings. So there's an enriching program when you come on board of Swan Hellenic, anywhere we are going. And of course, the expedition team will change wherever we are going because, well, if you are a penguin specialist and we are in Morocco, there's not that many penguins in Morocco. So of course, the team will change and be a specialist of that region. Something also that is very important as being an expedition cruise line, it's about sustainability. Anything we do, anything we prepare, anywhere we bring our guests to is making sure that we're not adding on anything for the environment. So that's very important. And our ships are absolutely built for this. So they're fully compliant. They have the advanced technology on board to making sure that we can do that. I'll give you an example that we rarely use our anchors, not to say never, and that allows us not to use the anchors and affect any of the marine floor wherever we go. So we use a GPS positioning for the ships. As well, the ships are equipped to sail for 40 days without touching land. I'm always saying it's like, well, if we can't touch land for 40 days, something is major out there. But that tells you how the ship has been built, as well as making sure that any of the regions and the communities that we visit, we're not adding on anything bad from an environmentally side of the business. We have developed some partnerships in the last few years. Our first partnership is with JRE, the Maris at Sea program. And JRE stands in English for Young Chefs of Europe. This organization has over 350 chefs. Many of them are at least one Michelin star. Many of them own a restaurant, and they will come on one of our journey to cook for our guests, as well as there's a gala dinner, there's a cooking demonstration, and so on during the journey. And our other partnership is the Space at Sea program with the SETI Institute. And if you're not familiar with the SETI Institute, it stands for Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. So these scientists are part of NASA, and they will come on board on one of our journey and really do some research and educate our guests about what they do with lectures and activities also during your journey. Excuse me. On the screen, you can see the where we are going in the world in 26 and 27, generally speaking. Of course, being an expedition cruise line, we're going to do the polar regions with Antarctica and the Arctic. In the Arctic, we talk about Greenland, Svalbard, Northern Canada, because we do part of the Northwest Passage. And let's put also Iceland. Sometimes we put Iceland in the Arctic. Sometimes we put them in Europe. So in this case, let's put them in the Arctic. But we also do Asia. For example, next year we are doing and introducing Asia with 6 different itineraries. We're doing also a lot of South America, where even one of our journey, we sail with the ship inside the Amazon River for 2 nights, all the way up to Garupa. We've developed a great program for Africa, especially Western Africa, which works really, really well with us because there's a lot of intricate cultures in Western Africa, and we offer every year 4 different sailings. So in 26, we're introducing 4 sailings in the fall, in the spring, up northbound, and 4 southbound in the fall. And for example, you're going to go to Pointe Noire in the Congo, where you have the opportunity to go and visit a chimpanzee reserve. Going to Lomé, where we stop in one of the community for a voodoo ceremony. Not the voodoo with the dolls, but really the real nice voodoo religion. We go to the Bijagos Island, which is a archipelago just off the coast of Guinea-Bissau in Western Africa. This is a matriarchal society. So women are in charge of the islands, the administration, and also it's always a woman asking a man for marriage, never the other way around. So you can understand that the world has a lot of intricate cultures, like I shared with you. And at Swan Hellenic, there's 34 destinations where we go in a year that are either less visited or not visited by a ship. So our itinerary planning team tried to think outside of the box and really tried to bring to our guests great adventures where sometimes nobody else goes. I'll highlight one itinerary here, which is our only North America departure from Halifax to Reykjavik, visiting the Maritimes with Newfoundland as well as Saint-Pierre-et-Miquelon. Then you also have southern Greenland, which is absolutely fantastic for maybe any of you that have been in Greenland before. And then it ends in Reykjavik. So for you as a Canadian, this is really leaving out from the backyard as an opportunity. 2 things I want to share with this itinerary is one of the scientists from the SETI Institute will join us on that departure. And also, Allison, we have this departure as part of an exclusive group departure for the company that Allison worked for. So and it's been extended today for up to December 31st. So I invite you that if this is an itinerary you would like to experience next year, to get in contact with Allison, and then you'll have the information of where to contact Allison a little later. So more or less quickly, I shared with you who is Swan Hellenic, what we do, how we do things. Now I want to make you a little bit familiar with our different ships. We have 3 ships in our fleet. We have the Minerva, the Vega, and the Diana. The Minerva was built in 2021, and she's 152 passengers, so 76 staterooms. The Vega is exactly the same as the Minerva, and was built in 2022. And then the Diana, she's the bigger sister at 192 passengers, 96 staterooms, and she was built in 2023. But what is great at Swan Hellenic is the 3 ships look the same outside and inside. So it makes it easy to understand our fleet. And also, I'd like to highlight that we have the youngest fleet of ships out there for expedition. I'll bring you over to discover some of the public areas and the staterooms on board with our Swan restaurant, which is the main restaurant on board on deck four. We can accommodate everyone at once if we wanted to. So 150 or 190 passengers, though we don't need to because it's open seating. So you just show up when the restaurant is open and they'll sit you down. On board, it's casual. If you don't want to dress up, you don't have to. The only thing we request for gentlemen is long pants in the dining room for dinner. That's it. But if you want to dress up, you are more than welcome. So it's freedom on board. It's an expedition. We want you to be comfortable. Then we have the club lounge on deck 7, which offer an early breakfast, light lunch, afternoon tea, because we still have a certain British heritage to maintain. And there's really snacks and coffee and tea available in the club lounge at any time of the day or in the evening. And then we have an extension of the club lounge, the pool, bar, and grill, which we even open in polar regions because there's a heated section in the grill. And then our guests can go comfortably outside, even in polar regions. This is where we serve hot dogs, hamburgers, grilled fish, and grilled chicken in a very comfortable setting. Other public areas, if you haven't done enough activities outside, we can definitely keep you active in our fitness room on deck 8. And as you can see, even if you would be training there, there's those big windows and any of the action outside you wouldn't miss. Even if our ships are smaller, we still have any services and treatments that a big spa or even a beauty salon can offer. And this is on deck 8 as well. And then we bring you back to deck 7 at the pool, bar, and grill area, where we have an infinity heated pool for our guests to use. And then bring you back to deck 8, where we have our sauna and our open deck jacuzzi. And even if you would be in the sauna, you can see that there's this big picture window and you wouldn't miss any of the activities that are outside. Probably one of the areas that I find is the most important is the observation lounge. Why? Because this is where we do our main activities, our lectures, our different gatherings. In the evening, we always have a pianist. As you can see, if you look towards the back of the picture, you can see the piano there. And our pianist will entertain our guests in the evening. But this is a expedition sailing, so it's enriching. We want our guests to be knowledgeable about where they came to sail and discover. And as you can see, there's a pretty big screen at the front for anything that is shown. But for any of our guests that would be more towards the back of the lounge, they don't need to worry. We have extra TVs that we automatically pull up, and then the guests can see anything presented. And the lounge is really set like your living room at home, like very comfortable sofas and footrest and so on. And also a great feature is we can fit everyone in the lounge if we need to. So this is a great feature instead of having too many rooms or public areas where we can gather all our guests at once when we need to. Then if we go way below on the ship on deck 3, you're going to find the base camp. And when we use zodiacs or tenders, this is your way out and back on the ship. And if you notice, each individual staterooms has its own locker. So for example, when we sail in polar regions, Swan Hellenic will provide you with a Swan Hellenic parka, as you can see on the screen. And it's yours to keep. You come back home with it. This is for when we sail in Antarctica, in Greenland, Svalbard, Northwest Canada, and so on. Even the departure from Halifax qualifies for this. And also in some of the regions of the world where we are going in polar regions, there might be a cleaning process to make sure that we don't bring anything out of the ship and we don't bring back anything on the ship. So we provide mock boots that are set perfectly for this type of cleaning. Right next, you have the library with different books and different subjects and different languages. The lab, so when there's research that are done on board the ship, this is a great way to be able to participate. And then at the bow of the ship, you're going to find the swan's nest that can hold about 30 people at a time. You have a downward view of anything happening. You're about 35 feet above the water. And then in polar regions, even more, it's built to push away the wind. So when you are in the swan's nest, you don't feel the wind as much. So it makes it comfortable to be outside. Then if I bring you over to our staterooms, I'll go quickly. I'll invite you to communicate with Allison if you want to know more information about the different categories of staterooms that we have. But on the screen, you see all of them. We have 5. And only the Diana has 5. All the other 2 have 4. Sorry. So the junior suite is only available on the SH Diana. And this is the only staterooms that doesn't have a fireplace. As you can see on the pictures, you see a fireplace for all the other staterooms. Now, you don't need to bring your own wood. It's electrical, but they crackle. And it just gives a different atmosphere when you come back to your staterooms and you open the door and you hear the fire crackling. It's just amazing. It doesn't give heat. It's just a flame effect, but it makes the journey quite something when you are in your stateroom. On the screen, you can see everything that is included. If you allow me, I'll say what is not, because it's a lot shorter. Spa, some top shelf drinks, and optional excursions, though we always include an excursion per port that we visit. So when you see a pricing, when you discuss with Allison, that means everything is in. Port taxes, gratuities, entry level Wi-Fi, room service, food, drinks, and everything. The only difference here that you have between the Cruise Plus and the Cruise Only is in certain destinations, mostly polar, there's a charter flight. For example, in Antarctica, we have our guests going to Buenos Aires, and then we take care of our guests from that city with a charter flight the next day after you spend a beautiful night in one of the 4 or 5-star hotel in Buenos Aires. And then we have a charter where you're going to meet the ship. So that's usually when we have our Cruise Plus package. Other destinations, it would be cruise only, but from the experience on the ship, it's the same exact thing. On the screen, you can see our Black Friday offer that is available until Tuesday next week. So you still have a week for many of our sailings in 26 and some in 27 as well. So I invite you to communicate with Allison on that. She has all the details, because on top of saving, you get also a $500 per person onboard credit. So if you allow me just to position Swan Hellenic in a nutshell, unpretentious luxury on board. As I mentioned, we want our guests to be comfortable. We have amazing itineraries in different areas of the world. You're truly in comfort when you come back to the ship after you've discovered on a soft adventure in any of the regions that we've brought you to discover. It's educational, it's enriching with all the different activities and the lectures that we offer. Many of the areas where we are going are definitely bucket list experiences. It's easy because all our ships look the same, as you can see, and they are set for expedition, and they are welcoming for you to come and discover all these different regions. And also, last, we still have the youngest fleet of expedition ships that were built in the last 4 years. I'll brag a little bit, if you allow me, that we have the highest, not one of the highest rating on Cruise Critics, coming from unsolicited comments and reviews from past passengers. So that tells you about the quality of the service, the quality of the food, the quality of the journey where we are bringing our guests to. And then we're going towards the end. I want to show Allison's information on the screen. So if you want to take a screenshot or take a quick note of her email, I invite you to contact her. She's very familiar with our brand, and she can definitely help you to choose the best journey on Swan Hellenic for you. And then, Allison, I don't know if there are any questions at this point. I don't know if you want to open the floor.
Thank you, Eric, so much for your presentation. We don't have any questions at this time, but I want to thank you for all that information. I know I made you squeeze it into a short time there. I said half an hour tops, that's all we got. So thank you for that again. And as a special perk, if you are listening to this webinar, M3 Travel is going to give you an additional $250 per person onboard credit. So you can enjoy extra spa treatments or upgrade some of the shore excursions or get some top shelf liquor, bring yourself home some nice souvenirs, things like that. So thank you all for watching, and thank you again, Eric, for presenting.
Thank you very much, Allison. Thank you, everyone.